Welcome, ghouls, gals, and spooky pals to the Monstration Club. I'm Jen.
And I'm Emma. Welcome
It's good
back.
to see all of you. Yeah, welcome back. Um, how are you today, Emma?
I'm doing, I'm here. Doing all right. Doing all right. How about you?
I'm good. It was such a Midwestern response. I'm here. This is just like so, not
I
that you're a
am
Midwesterner,
physically
but
present.
here I am. Um, but no, I was in San Diego this weekend, and me and Emma are going to take a trip there together because there's all sorts of ghost tours and gravesite tours and things for our little spooky hearts to do. So
I don't think I knew that. How did I live there so long and I didn't even know?
I don't know. I because I was visiting, I was like in places with like all those brochures, like check out
Mhm.
SeaWorld, which I won't be doing, but and
Mhm.
like things like that. And so I saw like a lot of like the most haunted house in America and grave
Mhm.
sites and blah blah blah. And yeah,
Okay, SeaWorld, first of all, is the real horror story here, for
maybe we should
sure.
do something on that. It
How
is
are
the
they
real
still
horror.
operating?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, like
It's
how did they just not go away quietly, like sneaking backward? Like you know
and I
that
think
Homer meme?
yeah, into the bushes. I think the one in Orlando is still operating, and I think the one in San Diego is still operating. There's still two operating in the United States, which is wild to me. Um,
What a reminder that like if you're a bad person, doesn't matter. You're just probably gonna be really successful. All right, I'm gonna pivot because it's gonna get too dark here. Um, I did not, was it mostly in Old Town or was it like all throughout San Diego?
so there was one all throughout like San Diego, like I saw a
Mhm.
bus downtown, and then there was one that looked really good in Old Town,
Ooh,
which
cool.
was
Okay.
awesome. Old Town, San Diego. I thought that was the coolest thing. It was like
Mhm.
walking into the wild, wild west. I was like, where am I?
Yeah,
It was a neat trip.
I love Old Town. We went to this like Coyote Cafe or something back when I
Yeah,
was in college. I'm sure it's probably still there. I think it's one of
it's
the most
there.
famous ones. It's so good.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
there.
I had this amazing chicken dish that I still to this day remember as like a tequila or margarita chicken dish.
Don't you love those? Don't you love those dishes that you still think about today?
Yeah.
Like, I have to tell you about my favorite sandwich and then we can get
Mhm.
rolling, but I just have to tell you because I love to tell everyone about this. Have I ever told you about my favorite sandwich?
No, I haven't. And I'm
Okay.
excited.
Okay, good. It's from a place called Olive and Gourmando in Montreal, and it had chicken on it. It
Mhm.
had mango on it. It had avocado on it, and it had like this delicious aioli, and it was a bakery, so it was all on this like freshly baked bread. And I think it had like arugula too, and it was so good. Like
Oh,
it was like a little spicy, but it was very sweet,
hmm.
and yeah, that's my favorite sandwich.
I love that. I love aioli on anything. Love it.
Yeah.
And I also love fresh baked bread. There was like a farmer's market that comes by work every once in a while, and they have this one that's like it's literally just like prosciutto and cheese, I think, but it's on like fresh baked bread that's like comes from French cuisine. It's so good. Like there's nothing on it, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Bread is awesome.
I've also heard, I know someone who went to Europe recently, and she said that in Europe she ate a ton of bread, but because the way they make bread is different there, that she like didn't gain a bunch of weight, wasn't all bloated, like she could eat more of it and not have like the physical side effects that we have here. So, like, wow, I want to eat bread all day.
Another thing Europe does maybe better than we do.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm.
Objectively, much better.
Hmm.
I digress.
Okay, so today is Jen's topic of choice. And so I want to do something to start, and it's like a guided meditation, but not really. It's more of like a
Ooh.
visual exercise.
Okay.
But I do want you to close your eyes if you are
Ah,
comfortable closing your eyes. It won't be for long.
Okay, I will absolutely close my. In fact, when you said a guided meditation, I started closing my
I
eyes
saw,
too soon. And then I was like,
I
what? She
saw
didn't actually tell me to do that yet. Okay,
someone's
okay.
ready. Okay, so imagine walking through a nearly empty mall that is in its final stages of closing down. All of the stores are shut. Empty window displays have maybe some naked and dismembered mannequins in the window. There's for lease signs hung up in the place of merchandise. The overhead lights are still on, but they're dim as if reflecting the mall's dwindling purpose. Occasionally, faint music is playing over the speakers. It's almost the holidays, so maybe it's like that Christmas music sung in pop style, in sync, Mariah Carey, take your pick. It's looping as you're walking through, and it's the only noise that you hear in this otherwise hollow silence, besides maybe your own footsteps. And it's got that echoing quality like malls have when they're kind of empty. The place of where Bath and Body Works used to be still smells faintly like candles, but it's just another empty storefront. The food court isn't completely deserted with rows of empty tables and chairs scattered in disarray. The usual sights, teenagers eating pizza, families grabbing a quick bite, are long gone. There are a lot of empty kiosks, but there is still a lit Chinese restaurant sign. Behind the counter is empty, however, and the lights are dimmed. Okay, so go ahead and open your eyes. I told you it wouldn't be very long. Um, so this is just something I like made up on the fly. And I don't know how you feel, but I hope you feel like maybe a little unsettled.
I don't feel great.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Success.
I
The
feel
opposite of
scared.
meditation. Um,
The opposite of meditation.
so have you heard of liminal spaces?
Is this like the back rooms?
Kind of.
Okay,
So
so no,
it's like
then,
those
if it's not the same.
well, so like it's like those unsettling in between places. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
those places that exist in an in-between state, so it's neither fully one thing or another. And like you said with backrooms, like empty backrooms, is that what you mean, like empty
Hmm.
kind of backrooms that like aren't being used currently, so they're not full of people, like they have no when they are it's like when an elementary school class isn't in the classroom and you enter the
Hmm.
class and like nothing's in there and you're like this place has no function right now, and so
Hmm.
it feels really off and no one's there.
Hmm.
um and yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk about like these spaces and why they seem creepy. Um, and then just like a brief bit of background. The concept of liminality was first explored by a French anthropologist. He was looking at like rites of passage. So
Hmm.
he broke it down into three stages. One was leaving the group that you were formerly a part of.
Hmm.
The last group was fully assimilating into the group you are becoming. And then that
Hmm.
in between space is called liminality. Um,
Okay.
so I'm curious, like, what comes to mind for you? Like, what is your personal experience with like places like this? What places have kind of made you feel that unease that maybe wouldn't if there were people around or they're being used for their proper function?
Okay, so this is like, let me make sure I'm understanding. So, liminal spaces. So, when I say back rooms too, Emily would show me these videos of these people finding this like hole in the ground or something, and they'd like go in, and the steps would just go like nowhere,
Mm,
would just continue on forever. Or it would be like an old office building, but no one's in the office, which it sounds like
yes.
is similar to this, right? Like an office building, but
Yeah.
no one is there.
It's like it's like it's not a super well-defined concept. The definition I'm going off is going off of like the subreddit for it because this is like a
Uh-huh.
whole internet subculture, which is really cool and interesting. Um, I'll have to share with you some images, but I didn't want to do any spoilers before. But yes, exactly.
Okay. So, are liminal spaces supposed to be creepy?
It's they just are. Like it's that's what I think is the weird dichotomy is like these are places that have no reason to be creepy. Like it's
Hmm.
just a classroom that is empty and doesn't have children in it right now, but it is eerie. And that
Hmm.
weird like why is it eerie? I don't know that it's supposed to be. It you could certainly like make it eerie, right? Like you can
Hmm.
certainly make an empty mall creepier with like flickering lights and like things hanging and maybe water dripping. I'm thinking like video games.
Hmm.
Um, but it shouldn't inherently be creepy, I guess. That's what I want to explore with you is like why these places that are not creepy when they are used for their actual function are creepy when they are not.
Right. Okay, so it's not like a like ghost town or a place that's designed to be creepy. It's just like when the carnival shuts down for the night.
Yeah,
If you walk through
that's,
it,
I
it makes you
think
feel
the
weird.
ghost town could also be a liminal space, but I would like to focus on like places like the carnival,
Hmm.
which when the carnival is on, it's great, it's awesome. And then afterwards, it's like,
Okay, so this is really interesting because sometimes I get this feeling, and maybe this is just a me thing. I guess we'll find out. Y'all tell me if it is just me. But sometimes I'll get this feeling, and it's more common in winter. I think because it gets dark so much sooner, where if I'm going somewhere like the store or something like that, um, and it's not kind of like bustling and it's like nighttime and dark, like it just feels like I feel uneasy.
Mhm.
Um, and I also like it's kind of like a hollow feeling. Like, is that a liminal? Is that the idea behind liminal spaces? Is it brings, or is this just an Emma thing?
It's not just an Emma thing. I that's definitely a relatable feeling for me. I think one of the rules, because the Reddit had rules for what
Ooh,
constitutes a liminal
okay.
space, and one
Yeah.
of them was there can't be any people, like the picture has to be completely devoid of people in the photo. But like I certainly in with like going with your experience, like if there's no one in that parking lot and it's just you, that's certainly a liminal space. Even if there's other cars there, um, even during the day, it could be during the day too if it's just empty and it feels
Hmm.
weird that there's no one coming at you, there's no one going, there's no one closing trunk doors. Um, that is my understanding. This is something I was interested in like years ago
Hmm.
and I fell off, but okay, so this is how I got interested in this again. There's this YouTuber called Any Austin, and he does a
Hmm.
lot of video game content.
Hmm.
My favorite videos thus far have been employment rates of various video game cities. So he did like Clockdown from Majora's Mask, he did Pallet Town from Pokemon, and Riften from Skyrim. He just does it in a really funny way. But he does this series about unremarkable and odd places that
Hmm.
give off this kind of eerie quality. And I was like, huh, like I remember this. But a lot of these places were obviously like places that the video game creators like put in there because they were going to have a story there or a quest or
Hmm.
characters there. And then for whatever reason, it didn't make it into the games. That space just exists now in the game. Or like
Oh, so
when
it's
you're
in the
driving.
game.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I know you didn't play Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but it's like there's a place in Hyrule Field that is like across a little stream, and it's just this patch of grass with like some trees, and it looks totally normal. It's small, and it was
Hmm.
obvious that like something was going to go there, and then it didn't. And so it's just this weird space with nothing in it but like trees and stuff, but you have to cross a stream to get there. It's weird.
This is making
Um,
me feel weird. Do you feel weird
yeah,
when you think of liminal spaces?
yes, I feel really like creepy and odd. And yeah, I just don't know why. Because it doesn't, there's nothing inherently wrong with them forgetting to put something there or them like cutting that content and it just existing there, but it feels weird that it's
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I feel
Okay.
unsettled.
So I have different theories, none of
Okay.
which are based on facts since I literally heard about this 2 seconds ago. One part of me that's the skeptic, or maybe glass half. I don't think it's pessimism. Um,
Oh no, not
is
you.
like, are we as humans, like, we're so self-centered as humans, right? Like, the idea that a space could not be made for us, like that, is that just enough in and of itself that like this space
Mm.
exists that isn't for human inhabitants? But then I'm also wondering. if part of this, like I would be curious when the idea that they were creepy started, because when you were describing that, have you seen 28 Days Later?
It's been a really long time.
Okay, so it's like the zombie movie, but they're in a mall. Like that's where they are.
Hmm.
And that's what it reminded me of. And then the real life example I thought of was COVID, when there were pictures of like the strip and like downtown Nashville
Yeah.
and places like that. And
Times
I'm
Square.
assuming those are then a liminal space because they're these places that are normally filled that are just dead. And are
Yeah.
never dead, right? Like there's
Yes.
never a time really, maybe 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., but it's like very limited.
And there's still
And there
some
should be
people
someone
there.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
And so I also wonder if it brings about kind of this like apocalyptic feeling of like, why would there not be people there though? Because there are always people.
I'd like that's kind of what I think. Unlike these otherwise lively spaces, even thinking about a children's classroom, like these otherwise like lively spaces don't meet expectation. And so it just creates like an unsettling feeling of like something being off to us, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, it reminds me of like the feeling I feel kind of reminds me of like the uncanny valley, which I don't remember if we've talked about, but it's like the idea that as robots and things like that get more humanoid,
Mhm.
at a certain point we like keep recognizing them and they're cuter and they're cuter and they're more lifelike. And then when they reach a certain peak, the more lifelike they become, there's like a sharp drop off in how endearing we find them because every little thing that's wrong is like amplified, like a weird jerk of the head
Oh my
is
God.
then like super amplified versus when it doesn't really look that
Uh-huh.
humanoid, we're like, okay, well, it's not. But as it gets more humanoid, like little like things like skin texture, we start to get really creeped out by. And it's a similar feeling for me, that
Yeah.
feeling and looking at liminal spaces. Um, Something's just off and
Yes.
it's wrong. And why is it wrong? And it shouldn't be wrong, but it is wrong.
Okay, this kind of makes me think too about like I don't we've talked about like not really believing in ghosts or things like that. I'm not opposed to aliens. I
Yeah,
actually think aliens are quite real, probably, just depending on how we define them and where they are. I don't know that they're here. Maybe they are. I don't know. Um,
probably not.
but it's interesting that the idea of like either backrooms or liminal spaces kind of give me the feeling that I feel like other people might get when they think about ghosts or things like that. Like it feels almost like it's an opening to something a little bit more than human or less than human.
Yeah, like like surreal,
Hmm.
like like surrealism. And I think that I mean, it's big with ghosts, obviously, but it's also, I think, big with liminal spaces is that feeling that it's like surreal.
Hmm.
So I could see that for sure. We should ask someone who does believe in ghosts if this is a similar feeling because we don't know. I get
We
it though when
should.
I think about when I think about how big space is, it's a similar
Hmm.
feeling.
Hmm. Oh, space. Thinking about eternity. Like as a
Mm.
kid, I grew up religious and we talk about like you just like get to live in heaven for eternity. I was like, eternity though? Like, do y'all know how long that is? We sure want that? I mean, I don't really want to not exist at all either, but like thinking
Well,
about it kind of turns my stomach.
that was my thing was like I didn't grow up religious, and so it was like when you're dead, you're dead. And thinking about that and how
Hmm.
there was just nothing, that was very overwhelming for years and years as a kid.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay. Can you think of other, I know we just have a few minutes left, but are there other examples of liminal spaces that they like commonly post about
there
off the
was
video?
one there was one recently that looked like it was like a lobby of um like an office building or something.
Hmm.
And there was an elevator there, and like a bubble gum machine. And I don't know if it was the lighting or the way it everything was hitting it. No one was there, and it just looked odd. Another good example, I think, would be like the hotel in The Shining.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know, how it's like
Yeah.
so big and it's so empty and like you can imagine it full of people. You see the images of it full of
Mm-hmm.
people. Um, but it's just empty and creepy and hollow. I think there has to be something, and I don't know that this is the case. I'm no expert in liminal spaces. I just wanted to talk about it with my friend, okay? But I think there has to be like this element of like hollowness and like
Mm-hmm.
echoey. That seems important to me. Like places that wouldn't be echoey if there were a bunch of people around, but they are because it's so empty and big. But I don't
Yeah.
know if that counts.
Yeah.
But I think the Shining Hotel is a really good example. Fun fact, I have been there. But it's a real hotel. Um,
Are we gonna go there?
we
We just
should.
plan our
It's
next trip.
in Winter Springs, Colorado. It's near the Rockies. Yeah, we like drove through the Rockies and then stayed. We didn't stay at the hotel, but we did stay near it, and we
That's
went
so
inside of
fun.
it. And the restaurant is very expensive, so we did not stay.
Well, there's no one to help in a liminal space either, right? Like if you're
Mm,
there, there's no one. Yeah. Oh, I want
you're
to hear what people think
alone. Yeah.
about
Yeah,
why
let
they're
us
so
know
creepy.
in the comments why they're creepy. Um, yeah, they defy expectation. They're kind of nostalgic, but like
Hmm.
creepy nostalgic, not like a heartwarming nostalgia. Nostalgia. Um, anyway, we're out of time. Um, I don't know. I just wanted to try something with this liminal spaces stuff. I hope you had fun, Emma.
I did, yeah. And
Cool.
like, if you know why they're creepy, if you research this in your off time, help us understand. Or if you have a really cool liminal space, um, send it to us either in a comment or go to our website at monstrationclub.com and send it there because I need to know now. I need to
Yeah,
see all the
let
liminal
us
stuff.
know. Yeah, let us know.
All right.
Bye.
Until next time.